Hello music students, my name is Chris Williams. Welcome to my video tutorial about the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale is a very useful scale for creating melodies, for improvising an instrumental solo, or for adding extra notes into your major and minor triads to make them sound a little more interesting or colorful, as I like to say. To understand what I'll be talking about in this video, you should have a working knowledge of major and minor key signatures and triads. I have videos on each of those topics on my channel under the playlist Learning. Now let me teach you about the pentatonic scale by starting with the major scale.
This is a C major scale, which has 7 unique notes. There are 8 notes in a complete 1-octave scale, but remember the top note is the same as the first note, so there are only 7 unique notes in a major scale. Each note in a scale can be described by its degree number, which is based on the order it appears in the scale. Usually the degree of the scale is represented by an Arabic number with a caret on top like this. The root, which is also known as the tonic, is the first degree of the scale. Next is the second, then the third, up to the 8th and final note of a 1-octave scale, which is just another tonic note. A pentatonic scale has 5 unique notes in it. It is the same as a major scale, but without the 4th and 7th degrees of the scale. These are the 5 notes in a C major pentatonic scale, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th notes of the major scale. One of the reasons to think of the notes as their degrees of the scale is that it makes it easier to transpose into another key. For example, if I want to play a G major pentatonic scale, all I need to know is the key signature of G major, and then play the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th notes of the G major scale. If you don't know how to determine a key signature, please watch my videos on major and minor key signatures. They're on my channel under the playlist Learning. Getting back to the C major pentatonic scale, I want to talk about the fingering, which refers to what fingers play which notes. Here is the fingering that I prefer for the scale and any pentatonic scale starting on a white key. I'll talk more about the fingering later. If you are only going to go 1 octave, you can land on the top tonic note, in this case C, with your 3rd finger. But if you want to go multiple octaves, tuck your thumb under to start the scale again, like this. The major pentatonic scale can be used to improvise a melody, also known as a solo, over a major chord or a chord progression in a major key. This is a simple chord progression in the key of C major, using the chords C, F, and G major. In this demonstration, my right hand will only play notes of the C major pentatonic scale, and I'll show just how these 5 notes, 6 if you include the top tonic, can create a melody. In some cases, you can use the pentatonic scale of the key you're in to solo over the entire chord progression as I just did, but you can also change the scale to the current chord. This time, when I move to the F major chord, I'll use the notes in the F major pentatonic scale. By doing so, I now have different notes to work with, which gives me more melodic possibilities. When I move to the G chord, I'll use the notes in the G major pentatonic scale for the same reason, more melodic possibilities because there are some different notes to work with. The other use for this scale is knowing the extra notes not in the triad, the 2nd and 6th notes of the scale, which can be added to a triad to make it sound more interesting. If you don't know what a triad is, please watch my video on triads. Here is a C major triad. But to make it sound more interesting, I can add the 2nd into the chord, or the 6th. Remember also that we are piano players and we play with two hands, so we can voice the chord with two hands. If I'm playing the root note with my left hand, C in this case, I don't need to play it with my right hand also. I can use my right hand for some of the other notes in the triad or pentatonic scale. In this case, I'm playing the root and fifth with my left hand and the third and sixth with my right hand. There are no rules as to how we voice the chord. Voicing means in which order we play the notes. I'll change my right hand voicing and take the second note of the scale, D, and put it on top. Now I have a chord that uses all of the notes in a C major pentatonic scale. Now I'll play the same simple chord progression I played earlier, but rather than a single note melody in the right hand, I'll play a rhythmic chord pattern as if I was accompanying someone singing or playing a solo. When I play the chords, I'll use the second and sixth notes of their respective scales to make the C, F, and G major chords sound a little more colorful or interesting. Until now, I've been talking about the major pentatonic scale, major chords, and major chord progressions. When playing in a minor key or over a minor chord, use the minor pentatonic scale, which is the first, third, fourth, fifth, and seventh notes of the natural minor scale. The other way to think of this is the minor pentatonic scale has the same notes as the pentatonic scale of its relative major. For example, the notes in a C major pentatonic scale are the same notes in an A minor pentatonic scale. This works for all minor keys and their relative majors. If you're not familiar with major and minor keys, please watch my videos on major and minor key signatures. I want to talk about fingering a little bit. Near the beginning of this video, I illustrated fingering that I like to use for all the major pentatonic scales starting on a white key. For comfort and proper articulation, we try not to use our thumbs on black keys when playing scales, but sometimes it's unavoidable, such as with the B major pentatonic scale. Scales that start on a black key, such as the B flat major pentatonic scale, will have different fingering. If you need help with your pentatonic scales, I teach private lessons in person and online. Contact me and we'll set up a lesson.
I hope you enjoyed my video. I have many more on my channel and I plan on making many more, so please subscribe. If you have already, I thank you.